Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Real Football Talk. We couldn't do the Liverpool Manchester United game due to what's happened, but we will be doing today's Manchester versus PSG, where Manchester City got a great win against PSG 2-0 tonight and 4-1 on aggregate. Sadiku, what was your take on the game really and the performance from City?
I think City completely dominated PSG, especially in the second half. Most of the time, they kept PSG in their half, playing around their box. Once they got the red card, PSG were completely frustrated. They lost their attitude. Mahrez completely dominated Diallo. De Bruyne's passes were phenomenal. Foden, young player coming through, hopefully he's going to represent England really well. Their defense was on point. Fernandinho, I've got nothing but praise for City. I'm sorry, but PSG didn't turn up for me. Neymar was man marked. He didn't have no chance to dribble on the ball, and they were really missing Mbappe.
I mean, it seemed like the first half was similar to the first half in the last leg, really.
Well, the only similarity is PSG started well, but
Yeah.
you could see it. The writing was on the wall when they're having chances and the shots are getting blocked because they're taking too many touches. And that Angel Di Maria chance, I mean, open goal. You can't miss chances like that when you're behind in the leg. And we're talking about world class players. Angel Di Maria is a quality player. You can't miss an open goal like that. So I just think the writing was on the wall anyway. I thought Pochettino in the build-up was poor. He's making excuses all week. Since last week, he's been making excuses about the balance of the squad and he hasn't had much time with the team. These are all things that just feed into a weak mentality, and you saw that on the pitch. Any half chance they had, they never pulled the shot. And the first time City attacked, they scored. And that tells you everything you need to know about the fragile mentality of PSG. I don't think they ever really believed that they could go there and win. And even though I don't think the performance was terrible, I think that's all they were looking for, a decent performance. And they didn't really believe they could beat City. They never played with that belief. And at the end, it was embarrassing for them how petulant they became and childish, really.
Do you think Neymar was man marked out of the game with Walker? I mean, he seems to be winning.
I don't think he was man marked. What it was, he never had the pace on Walker. So even though a few times Walker was on the wrong side of him, Walker had the pace to get back at him, and he just didn't look in top shape. But I mean, no one's expecting Neymar to outpace Walker. I mean, the only guy who could probably outpace Walker is Mbappe. Yeah. So I don't think it was anything that they marked him at. It was tactical, because what PSG did was what they were trying to do in the first leg, which was everyone coming into the 10 position. So you had Verratti in the 10 position, you had Neymar coming in, you had Di Maria coming in. So then what happens is you have three people around Fernandinho, and that's why they were still able to cut through City and beat their press. And it's what other teams who have beaten City this season have done the same tactic, where they've kept numbers up top but narrow, not out wide, narrow. And Man United did that well. Leeds did that to them. So I think it's something maybe that is maybe the only way to counterattack City's pressing, or their setup, the way they set up. Maybe that's a way of kind of cutting through them, but they just never had the quality. Once they got into those central zones, City were happy to drop off and then block the shots, and the decision making was poor of PSG.
I mean, Sadiku, do you think Pep Guardiola got it right in this situation in terms of playing Mahrez instead of Sterling? Because usually in the big games he goes with Sterling, and we've seen previously he misses big chances. So I mean, Mahrez took all the chances that kind of came his way and created even more.
I think he made the right choice with Mahrez, especially when it comes to dribbling. When Mahrez turns in on the left, dribbling wise, he done a fantastic job. He's got the pace as well. I think he kept up really well. Diallo struggled with him massively. I think he was the right player for the game. And plus, this season, Mahrez has performed really well. I think this is a great season for him. 13 goals with 14 goals so far this season. This is a good season for him, and I think he's the right man. I think Sterling, maybe last season before that, but I think Mahrez fits in well with this team right now. And I think he's made the right choice with him. And even with Foden as well, he's put a lot of faith in Foden. And Foden, obviously, he's still young and he's missed a few shots, but some of the shots that he's pulled up and the way he dribbles and he comes in at his age against his top players in big games, respect to Pep for putting a young boy out there, because normally people would rather play Sterling rather than Foden, but Pep's done a fantastic job giving a chance to a young boy like Foden. And Mahrez for me is phenomenal today, phenomenal.
Oh, God, sorry, Adi, go on.
I think all these decisions that you see this season from Pep is what the evolution of City is. That's the most impressive thing, and I definitely think it's because of the new assistant Lillo, who Pep Guardiola looks up to as the first coach that he actually played under and became a coach under in Mexico for Lillo. So I really think a lot of the changes that we see from Pep, especially like if you look at the first half, they sat off. They didn't even bother high pressing once in the whole first half. This is not what Pep does. The formation, he stuck to his lineup. Since the turn of the year, Sterling's been the backup. Foden's been playing on merit. Mahrez has been the main winger all season. The whole conversion into fully committing to the false nine, and now we said it since the cup final that it seems to be going to two false nines, which is a more 4-4-2, but the two are false nines. So yeah, even that variation that not everyone's picked up on is they're actually playing with two strikers or two false nines now, not the one. But all those things are things that is the development of Pep Guardiola. I mean, previous years, he would be so stubborn in going back to what made him work at Barcelona, and he'd go to weird formations. Now you just see that he just backs his team, plays players on merit. There's no favoritism to Sterling anymore, and it's a competitive squad. I mean, you have to just rate the way he's, even at being such a successful manager, he's still evolving and changing and improving, and that's the scary thought.
But Adi, a point I wanted to make, because we discussed this previously on previous episode, and why Man City have really struggled in terms of when he gets to these big stages, he keeps changing his formation or changes it to an awkward one to match up with the opposition instead of playing the way he's been playing throughout the whole season and believing in his system. And for the first time, it seems like he's done that in this semi-final and in the previous games this year in Champions League.
I think he's shown that throughout the year, though. Throughout the year, he's done so many things.
Throughout the year, previously, he used to do that, but when he used to come to the latter stages of the Champions League, he used to change the formation to counter.
But I think even this season, there's other things he's done differently that he never used to do. Differently. I think the whole season, and one of the poignant things is when they lost to Leeds. I mean, while he was while they were losing 1-0, I mean, Lillo was going crazy on the sideline. He was literally shouting at Pep. When do you ever see anyone on Pep's bench shouting at him? You never see that, and the camera kept going to, and all he was doing was shouting at Pep. He was not happy, and that's the difference when you have a mentor as your assistant. You listen more, and you can see that's the dynamic that has really changed the City team. Is having his mentor as the assistant has really changed. I mean, I'm really impressed at the flexibility of this City team, not just in formations, but really in their tactical approach. First half, they did not high press. Second half, they did. It's like they're just understanding that, let's drop deep, let's block the shots, let's, play on the counter. Once we get the goal, second half will dominate and we'll play and we'll control the tempo through possession. They're happy not having the ball all the time now. there's so many things that is different, and that's only started this year.
I mean, that's the thing I was gonna say, Sadiku. Do you think the Man City team kind of evolved, like, because they were willing to defend, they were putting their body on the line. That's not something that we're used to seeing with them.
I think it's more, you know what, it's also been the fact that Champions League final as well, that the fact that they're nearly there, it's driving them. It's driving them. The players
You
are
see
like,
how much he meant to them.
yeah, it means a lot to them. But Diaz will put his life on the line when he put his face in the middle of that shot. Fernandinho is blocking everything. These guys really wanted it, and they actually believe that they're going to win it this season as well. So I think that as well, it's just that belief is really driving them as well as is helping them this Champions League season as well.
Yeah, I think
when they've got that belief, it's like Liverpool in 2019 when they had that belief. It's different. But this season, it's like you could tell they had no belief when they were missing so many chances against Real Madrid. When a team actually believes they can win the Champions League, that itself helps them a lot as well.
Yeah, and I think the first leg went a long way towards that, because without playing particularly well, they ended up, getting the goals. I mean, they did put pressure in second, but the 2 goals were kind of freakish goals. And that can't, that's only going to increase the belief that it's your season. And on the flip side, that's the problem with PSG today. It just felt like they didn't have no belief in what they're trying to do. There were a couple of occasions in the first half, especially where Neymar just needs to play the Diallo outside, and there's a potential good cross or good overlap opportunity. What he does is he cuts in, takes 4 touches, tries to spread the ball out the other side. Di Maria as well, every time held on to the ball for too long. So I think PSG did have opportunities to potentially create a bit more than they did, but they just held on to the ball too much, especially Di Maria and Neymar. They just held on until, and the fluidity wasn't there in their play, like we saw with City's second goal. I mean, that second goal was devastating.
That's from the other players, Adil. Do you think they don't believe the other players are good enough? That's why maybe they're not passing it to like the likes.
I think I think that potentially could be the reason, because they were playing for themselves.
Yeah.
Everything they did was for themselves. I mean, when you see an open pass and an overlap, it's 2-on-1 with the fullback. Play the spare man in. If you're trying to do something else, it's either you don't rate the other player or you think too highly of yourself. You think you're the guy who's going to make the difference. But that fluidity is the difference, where between where these two teams are. I mean, they're quite evenly matched teams. I don't think there's that much difference between the teams, other than one team has got a philosophy and know what they're doing with their coach, and every part of their game, the whole team is in sync. But with PSG, the whole team isn't in sync, and you can tell it's a new manager. And it was disappointing to see the reaction after they lost the second goal, because it's something Tuchel rooted out. That type of weak mentality, feeling sorry for yourself. Tuchel kind of rooted out that mentality last year and made them a bit more mature in the way they approach games, the way they behaved. And is definitely disappointed to see it come back.
This is what I mean. It was a bit shameful the way they were going about it, like kind of chopping at players. Sadiku, what would you make of that bizarre ending from them? Kind of literally,
that's not no professionalism. These guys have to remember that they're role models, and someone like Verratti, who's been around for a long time. You could see him, like he was looking for a red card. After they scored the goal, he was looking for a red card, and then Kimpembe lost the plot later on in the game. What's that? Is it Danilo who came on as well? His tackle. Some of those tackles were ridiculous. The ref was probably. I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, some of those tackles. If the ref didn't feel like these guys were losing the plot, he probably would have given another red card. But he probably knew if I gave another red card, this game would go crazy. But it's not professional. This it's still football. You got 20-25 minutes left. Fight for it. You might still have a chance, but once you give up, it's just you don't want to watch games like that where teams are not performing, especially a team like PSG. And it's also as well. I think the wetness of the pitch maybe didn't support them, because
It was slippery. It's slippery.
Yeah.
You
Some
could
of the
tell the
passes that
fog.
were playing, they wasn't going to the players because the ball was just too wet, the pitch was too wet. That's something that maybe favoured City as well.
I think it just shows. Where PSG are really, that they're in a league where they don't get tested enough, and then when they come up against a team that is actually better than them, they can't handle it because they're not in that position. And the other thing is City are very good at getting into teams' head because one, they dominate in every facet of the game, but then secondly, they know how to play the ref, they know how to do tactical fouling, tactically controlling the game, and it winds oppositions up, but they're so good at it. And that's what all the best teams do. All the winning teams push the edge of every margin, and you can just tell they were just too streetwise for PSG.
That's what I was gonna say, because Fernandinho done so many fouls. If you saw, every time there was a break of play on the PSG side, it was Fernandinho. Whether it was on Neymar, Di Maria, whoever it was, Fernandinho, but he didn't get booked.
I mean, these are the dark sides of Pep's tactics that no one ever talked about. It's not a new phenomenon. They used to do. It's been something trademark of his teams from Barcelona, Bayern, and City, and even a game against Leeds, they did it non-stop. Any team that has an attacking threat or can beat the press, this City team is very ruthless in just stopping attacks at its source in its own half, somewhere around the midfield spot. They will just do tactical fouling, lift you up, pretend that it's an accident. They're very good at it, and at the end of the day, it's up to referees to, penalize it, but they are very good at it.
He trains them on, because the way they do it looks like they're so innocent. I didn't really meant to touch you, but I touched you. But
definitely.
They know what they're doing.
Have you watched that documentary that Tottenham on, All or Nothing?
Yeah.
Even with that Mourinho, when he joined Tottenham, he was telling all the players, you need to start being aggressive, you need to learn to be aggressive, get in their head. It's just how these managers are. They also tell you aggression is important as well. Can't have these big teams. They want their players to be aggressive, because if they're not aggressive, that's also part of the game as well. That guy's got a yellow card, get him a red card.
Yeah,
fall all over. If the guy touches you, just fall all over the place.
Clearly, that's what winded up PSG was they met a team that was just much more streetwise.
Yeah, if a decision doesn't go away, just crowd the ref, put pressure on the ref.
I mean, through Neymar, PSG do this stuff all the time. They get into people's head. So they came up against a team that has basically 5-6 Neymars. All of them know how to win a foul. All of them know how to foul tactically. I mean, another player who's deadly is Bernardo Silva. I mean, for a little guy, the amount of tactical fouls he does is amazing. But they're very good at it, and I think it's part of the game.
And they do it at key situations as well. That's what's amazing. Just as about they're doing that final pass to break through that press. That's when they do it. It's like it's installed in them. They know when that next pass, if he goes through, is going through. In terms of final, I mean, would you, with regards to Chelsea or Real Madrid, who they will face, would you put City as favourites?
Definitely. The first goal shows that these guys are champions. You see that when Edison played that ball and Zinchenko, he's right on the line. This team is ready for the final.
Well, that was a great ball, by the way.
Right on the line, and he just ran. Yeah, and these guys are ready for the final. They're gonna play the next game. They're gonna win the Premiership, and they're gonna focus on the Champions League final, whether it's Chelsea or Real Madrid.
And the thing is, if you look at Real Madrid are in a real tough title fight. So if Real Madrid go to, and they've got loads of injury problems, so they won't be able to really rest players for a Champions League final. Chelsea are still in the battle for 4th place. City have got the League won. I think they just need 1 point. It's the league's done. He's already got a whole second string, finishing off the league. And it's crazy to think players like Sterling and you know,
Aguero, Jesus in the
yeah,
bench,
Mendy,
Mendy,
Jesus, they're all backups now.
Cancelo.
But
The list goes on.
yeah, so it's crazy to think the backups, that's probably the second string is good enough to win the title or challenge for it.
I mean, you look at Laporte, who we thought he was amazing last year, now isn't even getting a run in.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, so that's the thing, and
City's
yeah,
only
I
conceded
mean,
4
they're
goals in the
definitely
Champions League.
favorites.
They've only conceded 4 goals in the Champions League. That just tells you these guys, you know, this is their season.
Yeah,
I mean, all it seems all positive.
and the thing with them is it's been different players carrying them at different times. You know, when they were struggling, Gundogan, you know, stepped up. Then De Bruyne gets injured. Foden suddenly steps into the play. Then you know, then suddenly Jesus goes in a little purple patch, and then now it's Mahrez. It's just different players, you know, at different times, just being them, and that's the hallmark of this team.
It
Everyone's
seems
a
like they
threat.
have
You
more
don't know
goal
where
threats
the
from
goal's
different
coming from.
positions. And match winners from different situations. Like it's not over reliant on one person.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, clearly, they'd be the favourites. They're the strongest team left. The fact that they're most likely going to be fresh for the final, and they've rotated the most anyway all season. So even if they had a tough run in or still were going for a title, you'd still make them favourites because Pep has rotated better than any other manager this season. So their players are relatively fresh anyway. So, and the fact that they've practically got the League One, they can just really prepare for the final. So, yeah, definitely going to be a tough proposition for anyone to beat them.
Thank you both. I mean, looks like City's got to the final for the first time in their history. Thank you both for your views, guys. Do like, share, subscribe, and keep supporting us. Thank you both, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.